everyone, and welcome to this second episode of 742 Evergreen Terrace. I just wanted to let you know that before this episode starts, there seemed to have been a major audio issue throughout this whole episode for some reason. We didn't notice it while we were recording, but as I've come to edit it here right now, the audio seems to drop out at a lot of places and then get very loud at a lot of places, and I'm not quite sure what the problem was. It's not something I've noticed on any other episodes going forward, and as you heard last week, it wasn't on episode 1 either. So I hope that you'll bear with us in this episode, cut us a little bit of slack, and hopefully you can enjoy it for what it is anyway. Just wanted to give you a heads up just before the episode starts. Enjoy.
Okay, right. It's going to be a great entrance. Hello everyone, and welcome back to episode 2 of 742 Evergreen Terrace, the Simpsons podcast. I'm your host, Richard, as always, and I'm joined once again by my friend Tom. Say hello, Tom.
Hello.
There you go. This week we are back with episode 2 of The Simpsons, series 1, Bart the Genius. So, a little bit of... Oh, no, wait. Forgot what I wanted to do. Episode 2, Bart the Genius. Mm-hmm. Roll the intro.
Why do people run from me?
I am smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T.
Eat my shorts.
Where nothing can possibly go wrong.
Homer, I gotta go upstairs. There's a problem. Somebody ate part of my lunch.
They taste like burning.
I have to be careful. I got a gun.
Ay, caramba.
Why, you could wake up dead tomorrow.
Well, I'm taking nap, and the other day I was a little affected to no help.
And I, for one, welcome our new insect overlords.
Okay, get up. The last time you'll flop your willy out. Ow! Oh, they're defending themselves somehow. Brandishing your buttocks is only getting me angrier.
I want to see what's going on.
No, Mother, don't look out the window.
Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Stupid sexy slander. You're not that silly. Good advice.
No one who speaks German can be an evil man.
Yeah, you're like pina colada and getting caught in the rain. 40 seconds? But I wanted no.
And then that's where I put the intro, because we need to have an intro, right?
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, got to put the music somewhere. Your whistling's not going to cut it.
Okay, fine.
So, bit of information about this episode first of all. So this episode first aired on the 14th of January 1990. So we're into the 90s as they say. First episode obviously was due in 89. So we're just over a month out from the first episode. Quite a long break between the first episode and the second episode.
Yeah, how many weeks was that?
So it's about a month. It's about 4 weeks.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was the Christmas episode a pilot?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, right.
It had already been picked up by that point. And as I said last episode, there was supposed to be a different first episode.
Maybe that episode was just a taster for the full series. Starting in January. What's it, January? The
14th of January
14th
is when
January,
it started.
that was, I don't know.
Yeah. So it's basically about a month apart from the first episode. What I think it might be is a case of they were busy getting them all reanimated.
Right.
Because they had a problem with the animation, which is obviously why the first episode isn't the first episode. And the animation was all over the place for this first series. Right. So they actually they sent a lot back to reanimate again. And that obviously caused issues where that was, for instance. So that obviously would have probably caused delays as well, I imagine. And this actually comes into a question that I ask at the end. I don't think for this first series there was any actual real structure to how the series was put together. I think they released them as and when they could. because of the animation issues.
Yeah.
You know, this one is still not good enough. It needs to be reanimated. Okay, this one's okay. At least we can get it out. That the first episode, we still haven't got to it yet. When we get to that, you'll see that the animation is still very poor on that episode, and it stands out like a sore thumb. But we'll see if you can guess which one it was, first of all. But
okay, well, this one had some ropey stuff in it.
It is. I've got that written down as well. It is a little bit ropey, but this wasn't supposed to be the first episode still. But I think that you can see as it goes along that it's very disjointed. It doesn't feel like a connected series.
Right, but I would say to that most of the series are like that. They're just standalone episodes.
I agree, but it feels like the characters change who they are from week to week rather than a gradual build up into who they are.
Right.
It feels like 1 week they're like this, the next week they're back down to, what is matter? Never mind, and then the next week again they're all over the place, So, interestingly enough, though, this was first released in the UK on VHS before the United States.
Okay.
So it was released in this country before it was released in the US, but that wasn't until November 1999. So 9 years after the first airing was when this was first released on home video.
Wow.
And it was released in the UK. Odd, right? It's also the first episode to show the iconic opening sequence.
Yep.
The Christmas special obviously didn't have.
No.
It had a cold open. So it's the first time you get to see things like the Homer leaving the office. Obviously that's changed from Mr. Burns and Smithers in the background to the guy just eating donuts with the clipping thing. The people at the bus stop.
Yeah, the bus stop was a nice
different
thing for me.
And it's the first time that you actually get to see Maggie being scanned.
Uh-huh.
So, yep. Things that will become iconic. It was this first episode is the first time you see him. The chalkboard gag reads, "I will not waste chalk."
So ironic.
Yes. And the famous couch gag is Bart gets flung into the air, and he later crashes down in front of the TV.
Hilarious.
So yeah, those will be features from now on, from this episode onwards. But yeah. What did you make of the opening sequence? Are you a fan of the opening sequence?
Well, it's different, wasn't it? I mean, obviously they're still trying to put things together, aren't they? But you can see, it's just an opening sequence, really.
Yeah, but
things become more elaborate as we go on.
It becomes a lot more of a thing going forward, doesn't it? The couch gag. What's the couch gag?
Absolutely.
And it always needed to be something different for every episode. But at this point still, I think you'll find throughout most of Series 1 and Series 2, they repeat quite a few of them over and over and over again. There isn't like a new one every episode or anything like that. So, but yeah, this is the first time we get to see that. So, do you know how much Maggie costs when she's scanned?
Priceless,
mate. $847.63.
Expensive baby.
Yeah. But where's the barcode?
Guessing she had a barcode stuck on her.
What was she being scanned instead of then?
I don't know. Something that cost £800.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
But obviously that's a gag that comes later on in the show, in the Simpsons clip show with Troy McClure.
Mm-hmm.
What does it say when Maggie gets scanned? Do you remember what that says?
I can't remember. No.
NRA forever. But it doesn't say that, obviously.
Oh, right. Okay.
But that's the joke in that episode. So, because Matt Groening is pictured as a crazy patch-eyed man with a gun.
Oh, right.
Get out of my office! So, from that, we go into the episode. We start with Maggie playing with the blocks.
Yep.
The blocks are saying E equals MC squared.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, obviously
it
showing.
It looked like a Asperger letters to me.
Yeah, no, it says EMCSQU. Actually, earlier on in the show, she's actually often depicted as a genius, isn't she, along with Lisa? And then that obviously becomes a gag later on with the Simpsons gene that only affects the men.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're getting way ahead of ourselves here at the moment. But yeah, so obviously setting up the premise of Bart the Genius. We've obviously got Maggie, who's a genius as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we move to see the whole family playing Scrabble.
Yep.
Game that apparently I just found out you're not a big fan of.
Bit dull, isn't it?
I don't know. Can be
I'm
fun.
not really excited for it.
I think it's one of those games that's good that kills time. Like if you're in a hospital,
Monopoly as well, I don't think they're a fan of that.
Monopoly's fun for like the first hour, and then it just starts getting
It
really.
never appealed to me, really.
Payday is
Oh.
nothing like that for me. I don't know if you've ever played Payday. No. All similar. So, question. What is Bart's Scrabble word?
Oh, what was it?
Word.
Catch a goo goo.
the song? Or is it the band?
The band. Something along those lines. I don't know.
No? Don't want to take
I
another
know
pun?
Homer had oxidised, didn't he?
Oxidise on his thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But he just
That's
ends
what's
up
the word out of this.
he ends up writing do. But just because he's got oxidise on his thing, was there anywhere on that board that he could have put that? Because you still got to be able to connect it.
Yeah.
So even if he did have oxidise, doesn't necessarily mean he'd be able to put it down, does it?
What was the word?
Quidgibo.
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 That famous word.
The definition of a bald North American hairless ape.
That's it, yeah. That famous word, yeah. People go to the zoo to see those Quidgibos.
Yeah, Quidgibo.
Quidgibo.
Go see them at your local zoo. Then we move on, unless you had anything you wanted to comment.
I did have something
Yeah,
that
go ahead.
becomes a constant theme throughout this episode that I just cannot take my eyes off of. The backgrounds.
Yes.
The pink and white, spurgy, boring, dull,
Bright as
lazy
well, isn't it?
backgrounds.
Yeah.
Like throughout this episode.
Mhm.
Not only at the Simpsons house, but also in the school as well.
Yeah. I definitely think that this was... I mean, for what I know, most of the episodes were sent to be reanimated again because the poor quality of the animation. They tried to rescue what they could, obviously to cut costs and time, obviously, because they obviously had a schedule. They needed to get this out. So I think it's a common theme in this first series specifically, that the animation is very up and down, up and down. There are some scenes where it's like, okay, this isn't terrible, it's not great, but it's not... And then there are other scenes that are just garish and... I want to say cartoony, but I know it's a cartoon, so it doesn't... But you get what I mean? It's very kids drawing a cartoon.
Yeah,
kind of,
it's very
yeah.
basic.
I put this later on as well, towards the end of the episode, but I can bring it up now as well. Is this the first time that we see Homer as Homer, do you think?
Kind of. Why you little and
Yeah,
and
and
the throat strangling.
You don't
yeah.
see the abuse yet, but
No.
there's the threat of the abuse at least coming, isn't there? So it feels like it's kind of like the first time that you start to see him moving into that. But we'll discuss this a little bit more later because I actually brought it up at the end that I wanted to discuss as well. So anything else you wanted to? No. So we move on to the next scene. It's the first time we see Bart actually at school, not at the pageant.
Okay.
So he's actually at school. Plus we get to see his friends.
Yeah.
Obviously Milhouse will be a constant. Obviously Milhouse goes on to become a regular character and a friend of his. Doesn't look like it will be from this episode though. I mean, barely him, and I think the other guy's name is Richard, is one of them. But there's no evidence to suggest that Milhouse would necessarily go forward.
Not really in this episode, no.
Yes, it looks like there's going to be more Bart going forward with Martin, because obviously it's the first time we see Martin.
Yeah.
Gets more to say than Milhouse in this episode.
Yeah.
Even when it's not necessary for him to say anything. But what I was saying is that obviously he goes and he's shown as the tattletale, so he goes and tells Principal Skinner. But then the mocking with the wiener is usually spelt this way and stuff like that. I mean, not necessary, but it would be if it's a character that you're really trying to put forward. I mean, there are obviously storylines later on in series where Martin is a little bit more involved. From this episode, it looks like he's going to be a bit more of a big deal than Milhouse. But we move into the classroom, and it's the first time we see Edna Krabappel, I'm sure.
Aha.
Yeah. You have something you want to say?
No.
Oh, okay. The kids take their test.
Yes.
You look like you're itching to say something.
No, not
Okay.
Oh, wait.
The kids take their tests, which is wrongly described as an aptitude test. Well, it's not. It's an IQ test. An aptitude test is a test that you take which establishes what career you'll be best at. This one is simply measuring IQ. So it's the first time we see Edna Krabappel in this episode as Bart's teacher. Obviously, she'll be his teacher until she dies.
Excuse me, what? Spoilers?
Spoilers. Sorry. Yeah. Edna Krabappel is dead in later series. That is because the actress that played her passed away in real life.
See.
This is one thing that The Simpsons do that I actually quite like. That when characters who are voiced by people pass away, they don't revoice that character.
Yeah, well, Blind at Heart, Struggle Claw.
Yeah, this is something that I quite like about The Simpsons, is that they don't do it. But yeah, the actress playing Edna passes away. So, but yep, she is Bart's teacher from this point until then. So that's over 30 years of having the same teacher. Quite impressive. Bart switches the test between him and Martin, which is obviously the premise of this entire episode. Go ahead.
We get the first Eat My Shorts.
I thought that's why you said Eat My Shorts earlier.
That's why I said Eat My Shorts earlier, yes. We get the first Eat My Shorts to Martin Prince.
Yeah, so I didn't write that down.
Also, did you notice how massive the pencils are?
I didn't know.
About the size of their freaking heads.
I didn't notice that. That would go past
Really
me.
massive.
So more victims of animation pencils as well.
pencils. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I didn't see that. This is obviously the whole premise of this episode, is the switching of the tests. This is before the era really where they had A and B plots. We saw this in the first episode as well. It was very much all about Homer's bonus and the whole...
I thought you were going to say something else there for a minute.
And now...
Goodness me, what a way to start The Simpsons that would have been.
I'm sure there are episodes of that out there somewhere. Fan art and stuff. But yeah, so we don't really have A and B plots at the moment in this time. So characters tend to be shoved to the back and the wayside quite a lot, I find, in these series. This is obviously the plot of this episode. Later on, Marge and Homer are coming into the school for a meeting with Principal Skinner. We are led to believe that this is with regards to the graffiti earlier on that Bart placed on the wall.
It was initially, right?
It was initially, yeah. But then we get the surprise.
Oh.
And Dr. Pryor, I don't know if that's a take of Richard Pryor or not, I'm not sure, who is actually voiced as exactly the same as Mr. Burns. Just a little bit more cheery.
Yeah, he sounded a lot like Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
This aptitude test we administered this morning has revealed that the young Bart here is what we call a gifted child.
A what?
Your son is a genius, Mr. Simpson.
Bart?
Comes into the meeting to say that Bart is actually a genius.
The Homer's terrible writing.
These are examples of clear forgeries that are clearly... Right, okay, well...
Yeah, I did like that. That's a good gag.
Yeah, no, that was good. I like that one. I think that returns as well in later series. Yeah, he's a terrible.
Very much Murphy, uncontrollably.
Yeah, that of course, that's a classic. But I think there's I'm thinking of the where Bart plays truant. He's like, please forgive my terrible handwriting. I busted whichever hand it is I write with. But good joke. That was good. I quite like that. That feels like a very Simpsons type joke that they would have throughout the show. It doesn't feel very isolated to this first series, I find. The one thing I find quite funny about this is I'm guessing that Lisa doesn't do the tests yet at her age, because
she's supposed to be pretty smart.
She's supposed to be a genius. And there's the whole...
doesn't get a lot of time in this episode.
No.
You thought maybe if this was a later season episode, they would build her up as more annoyed about this whole thing.
Yeah, I put that down here as well in a later scene.
In the background, most of this episode. Really.
When they go to the opera later on, I find that she's joining in with the gags and the joking around, whereas in the later series, this is something she'd be she'd be very annoyed by this, and Dad, and like that, So she is very sidelined in this episode, and I think that I don't know if maybe her or Marge probably would have had a B storyline in this episode in the later series, but it does feel very nonchalant about it. But the point is that her and Martin are both shown to be the two smartest kids in school later on, along with I can't remember his name, but oh my God, the kid with the glasses, and he talks like this. I can't remember his name now.
No, I can't remember his name.
But obviously he's part of the nerd group as well. But I'm assuming that this is an argument that comes later: is who's smarter, Lisa or Martin? Martin is apparently such a big genius that his score is later on equated to Albert Einstein, and he's supposedly the smartest kid in this new school.
There you go.
So how smart is Lisa? Cut back to the dinner table at the Simpsons residence for breakfast the next day. Bart's getting ready for school, wearing a pink shirt and different shoes.
He's clearly gone mad, Richard.
Yeah,
pink shirt.
Yeah, I just found it strange that they're quite happy to change what everyone wears at this stage as well. It's not that
it's more realistic than Bart exclusively wearing an orange shirt.
There's a joke later on, isn't it?
What? Is it?
Yeah. Is it my overbite? Is it the fact that I wear the same shirt and shorts day in, day out for the past 20 years? Just shoes as well. I found the fact that he's wearing different shoes to be quite interesting. Different outfits, which is quite interesting. He goes to his new school, and Miss Krabappel is his teacher again.
Same voice.
Yeah.
You must be Bart Simpson. I'm Ms. Milan, your learning coordinator. Let me say right at the start that we have one rule here. Make your own rules. If you feel sleepy, take a nap. If you get bored, feel free to take out a book and start reading.
So,
better than Edna Krabappel.
Whoa. You wouldn't Edna Krabappel, no?
No.
What about the, Woodrow episode with the here's something to get your pencils? Yeah, she's up for it. She's up for it.
Well,
at least,
maybe.
Yeah. This is your teacher. I should come to parent teacher night more. But I just found it strange that they couldn't even do a different voice for his different teacher. I'm assuming that maybe the voice actress that came in to do this wasn't going to be like a regular cast member, and it was just while she was there, we'll just use
how many voice actors did they have?
5 or 6 maybe.
Sure, they'll get more as the show went on.
Oh yeah, they get a lot more as the show goes on, obviously, but in this early series, I think it's maybe 5 or 6, something like that. Yeah, so I'm guessing that she just came in as a special guest appearance or something, because she was quite big on like the comedy scene in the US at this point as well. The voice actress, I cannot remember her name now. I should probably look it up, shouldn't I? But yeah,
Nancy Cartwright.
Is it Nancy Cartwright?
That's Bart's voice.
Yeah, that's Bart's voice. Yeah, right. But she doesn't do Miss Krabappel's.
Oh, right, okay.
No. Should we look it up?
If you want.
Yeah. Marcia Wallace.
Okay.
She's also not Marcia, but Edna Krabappel is 41. Marcellus Wallace. But I'm guessing that's why they didn't bother putting a different voice actress in for that. Might as well while you've got her. He meets his classmates.
Yep.
Well, something I stopped on, which I'm sure you noticed, was he speaks to a kid called Ethan Foley.
Yep.
Now
Black eyes.
Now Bart greets him, and he greets him back, supposedly using a palindrome, which is a sentence spelled or a word spelled the same way forwards and backwards.
Right.
Which is fine. I get that. But what the hell does O Mems Ahib Bart Rabbi Has Memo mean when I'm trying to say hello to someone?
Oh, Mem Sahib, Bart. Rabbi has memo. What?
Ethan's very good with palindromes. Sentences spelled the same backwards and forwards.
I don't know if it's Hebrew or something. I don't know, but O mems ahib, Bart, Rabbi has memo. Even if you're talking in palindromes, I'm sure there's a better way to greet someone than this. Because, I mean, like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, but it just...
It's just to show that douchebags, mate.
Yeah, I know that I know the purpose of it, but it's just like uber douchebag.
Yeah, that's the point.
I just found it quite strange. Like, what the hell does that even mean? I don't. As a greeting. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. We'll move on. I just thought it was something that I was like, you know, what the hell, man. So then we move to the lunchroom of this new school, and all the nerdy kids start bullying Bart in a nerdy way.
They do.
Quite interesting, I thought. Nice little take on the whole bully thing. You know, obviously we've been seen to. He's one of the cool kids at school, and he obviously bullies the nerdy kids. Yeah, it's quite an interesting little juxtaposition, I find. I wonder if the facts that they put out are actually true. Like, I bet you one way to.
I'm not willing to research those.
No, me neither. I can't be bothered. No. But if you feel like it,
probably.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's probably right.
But it's just, yeah, be interesting. I'm assuming that if one of the kids was asking you that, you didn't understand, you just assume that it was wrong, would you? Or would you just want to fit in? Who knows? Move back to Bart's room. He's sitting in his bed reading a comic book. Homer is impressed. Radioactive Man. Is that the first appearance of Radioactive Man as well?
Probably.
Yeah, Homer walks in, asks him how it goes, and Bart says, os, os. And Homer's super impressed by this. Wow.
Doesn't take a lot to impress Homer.
No. But it shows that Bart picked something up.
Well, just 2 letters reversed, yeah.
Well, he's learning.
Yeah.
Maybe this school is good for him. Maybe he secretly is a genius. Maybe he's got a crayon stuck up his nose as well. We'll get to that in later episodes. Homer says his famous old line of frosty chocolate milkshakes.
To celebrate your first day of Genius School, what do you say we go out for a round of frosty chocolate milkshakes?
Alrighty.
His famous old line?
From the Tracy Ullman show.
Okay.
He used to say that in lots of episodes on that.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yep.
Thanks for the information.
And it comes back in a later callback when something about alternate realities or different dimensions and stuff like that, and they do that original Homer from the Tracy Ullman show, and he says chocolate frosty milkshakes in that episode as well. So, but just goes to show that they don't really want to stray too far away from the Tracy Ullman roots of it as well, I find, which is quite interesting. We go to the opera. Yes, go on.
Also, I'd like to point out how they were broke in the last episode, but now can afford to go to the opera and to a film festival.
Yeah. Were they broke or were they just Christmas broke?
Afford, yeah, Christmas presents.
I mean,
I don't know.
Broke and Christmas broke are 2 different things, I would say, aren't they? Broke is we can hardly afford to put food on the table. Christmas broke is, it's Christmas, we need to buy tons of presents for
maybe,
everyone.
yeah.
I don't know. But yeah. But I like the way that opera is seen as the generic smart person thing to do.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, no one goes to a heavy metal gig, are they?
No smart people are into any other thing other than opera, are they?
I mean, in terms of music, then, yeah, obviously the opera's going to be, unless they went to like a classical.
But I like classical, and I like opera, and I would not consider myself a genius.
Yeah, but they're seeing this very stuffy forms of music, right?
I guess.
Posh people are into it. Smart people.
But I don't know, I still think that it's a bit, I mean, it's 90s smart, isn't it? You know, it's very much like how it is. But Bart and Homer continue to bond.
They do.
In this scene with their dislike and boredom of the opera. And as I said, Lisa is laughing at this too. Seems like a different from her personality that we will get to know, obviously, as we were just discussing. Anything else you wanted to comment on this scene?
About the opera, not really. I didn't think Bart's singing was particularly funny.
No.
We had this problem in the last episode when they were singing about Christmas.
Yeah.
It's not really funny.
Yeah, the jokes are pretty flat.
Or maybe a child might find it funny, I don't know. But...
I mean, I don't know if this show knew who it was for at this point. It wanted to be adult, but adult cartoons weren't really a thing yet, so it needed to be childish at the same time as well. So I don't think it quite knows who it's meant for in this first series. I think a little probably in the second series. It finds its feet a little bit more, but definitely in this first series it doesn't quite know who it wants to be yet. But yeah, I'd agree. I think a lot of the jokes in this episode fall quite flat. I don't think they're great. There's a few moments that, but probably nothing more than a slight chuckle, I would say. This next thing is what's the word? Endemic of that. So we head back to the school.
Yep.
And we get the RDRR joke.
Derivative dy equals 3r squared dr over 3, or r squared dr, or rdrr. Hardy har har. Get it?
So
it was supposed to be a lame joke though.
Yeah, it is, but it doesn't feel any different than the jokes that this show is actually telling. That's what I find quite funny about it. Like I said, I think the non-verbal jokes are probably the funniest in this at the moment. The Homer's handwriting. Trying to think what else. The fact that, the Dr. Pryor has a picture of Einstein and Bart.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. The comparison between Einstein and Bart Simpson. Yes, this doctor is so quick and willing to accept Bart as a complete genius.
Absolute genius.
As is the school, because they now have his graffiti as a mural.
Yeah. That's what I find quite funny about this episode, is the non-verbal jokes. I think the jokes that they tried to land are very RDRR, to tell you the truth. As you say, we go back to the Springfield Elementary, and Bart's graffiti on the wall has been framed because everyone is so willing to accept that this guy is now just the second coming of Albert Einstein. But Bart's friends don't like him anymore.
No, because he's a Poindexter.
Poindexter.
He's a nerd.
That's a 90s insult, isn't it? Poindexter. If you were born in the noughties or the tens, tell me if you know what the word Poindexter means, because that feels very much like an insult of our generation.
Possibly.
Yeah. But yeah, and we get Milhouse with different hair.
With black hair,
So he can't.
He dyed his hair.
Yeah, in like the couple of days it's been since we last saw him.
There's a quite innocent explanation.
Victim of the animation, definitely. And we head back to the Simpsons house for dinner and a game of catch. One thing I want to say just before we talk about this scene: do you feel like this episode is moving really, really fast? To me, it feels like we're here, now 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 we're here.
I don't think the premise of the episode is that exciting.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
Well, I would agree.
Because you can see where it's coming a mile off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just feels to me like I was really struggling to take notes because it felt like everything was happening all the time and I was constantly just scribbling on my paper saying, oh, now we're here, now we're here, now we're here. Yeah. That was just my impression of it. I don't know. But to me, it just felt like it was moving really fast. And, like, I know a lot of it was to establish, Bart's really not happy about everything and stuff like that. But then, did we have to have him confess? It feels like we could have had him get found out. And that would have been just as... A, acceptable, and B, probably funnier. I don't know. I mean,
he kind of did get find out a little bit.
Only
because chemistry stuff.
Yeah, but they were still willing to accept that he was a genius and that he was struggling with the, is it still too boring for you? Kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, kind of feels like he should have been found out.
Not a doctor, really, is he?
Yeah, he's pretty rubbish. I think he makes one more appearance in an episode, and then you never see this guy ever again. And
so
then
this appearance is prior to his last episode.
Yeah. But then we go down the Marvin Monroe.
Yeah, they were never popular.
Yeah. But then that was it. We don't really get another one after that. But Anyway, Simpsons house for dinner and a game of catch.
Did you see what Bart was eating for dinner?
I didn't know.
Mashed potato.
I was going to say it just looked like mash
Literally
on
just
a
mashed
plate.
potato, that was it.
It was just mashed
It
potato.
looked like it, yeah, there's nothing else.
It did look just like a love.
As a kid, I hate mashed potato.
See, mashed potato was probably the only potatoes I liked as a kid.
It was found disgusting.
Yeah? Was it lumpy? Because it was lumpy.
I like chips though.
Yeah, every kid likes chips,
But
don't they?
no, just mashed potato. I just never liked it. I thought it was disgusting.
Or potato waffles.
I like waffles.
Yeah, potato waffles are good. Hash browns, they were good as well. I like hash browns.
I've been a fan of hash browns.
No?
I don't know. It just tastes weird to me.
Huh.
I did try them again when I was in Northern Ireland as well. Plug.
I've been on holiday.
I took one bite and I was like,
No?
still don't fancy
Was this at your hotel?
No, this is a Wetherspoons.
Oh, okay.
Got breakfast for like £4.
Nice.
It showed.
Oh, right, okay.
It was cheap for a reason. Sausage was alright. Anyway, catch, mate.
Yeah, so more bonding from Homer and Bart in this episode. Yeah, not really much to say about
It
it.
establishes that Homer is very happy with Bart because he's a genius.
Yeah, he doesn't like Bart as Bart usually is. He just wants
But
Bart.
now he's a Einstein level.
Now the pride comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Even though that this kid shows that he's actually pretty good on a skateboard. Not. I mean, even in this opening credits, he does. You know. But I mean, skateboarding's a big deal. Look at Tony Hawk.
In the early 90s, though.
Tony Hawk.
In
I mean,
the early
he's not-
90s.
Yeah, I guess. And Dad's not going to know about that, are they? But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, just again, it was just more, just establishing. You know, Homer wants Bart to be
smart,
but he ignores Lisa. He obviously wants his boy to be smart, doesn't he?
Again, I don't. That's something that would have been explored in later episodes, I think.
Yeah.
With Lisa, Homer showing Bart all the attention.
I think this would have been a better episode had it come later in a series. Series 5, 6, 7, something like that. I think this episode probably would have been a better premise for an episode then, because you would have had the better dynamics between Lisa, Bart, and Homer. But
you also have had Martin Prince being more pissed off about what was happening.
yeah, he kind of just disappears. I mean, he surely must have got one of the worst scores in the class, right? How does he not?
Yeah.
How does he not question
That's
that?
why it expanded the one in a later episode.
Yeah, it feels very quick and sudden, this episode, doesn't it? Speaking of which, we move back to the new school with Bart in his white shirt.
Yeah.
And he has his science accident, which obviously...
It's extreme.
Very extreme. It blows out the entire school, apparently, not just their classroom. If you look, goes to the outside, it comes out of every single window. So, what the hell did he mix?
No, but doesn't Homer do a similar thing later on in... I can't remember what episode it is. Is it when he goes back to college? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Might be.
I know that, obviously, in the Grammy Venus de Milo episode,
in the blow,
where it blows up the convention centre.
A massively over dramatic scene, yeah.
With pop rocks and coke. Yeah, that one was good. But this obviously leads us into Mr. Burns' office, and Bart's idea to go undercover.
Yeah.
Which then turns into his confession.
Yeah.
Which he misspells.
He did misspell confession. That was a good gag as well.
Yeah, I like that one as well.
Ah, finished already. Principal Skinner will be very interested to see. Yeah. You know, you misspelled confession.
Yeah. That one was good. It's the little subtle ones in this episode that I find really funny. The over the top. This is a joke type one. Yeah. So like I said, he doesn't get found out. He gives himself up. Now I know that's we've been establishing all of that obviously he's not happy and he's getting bullied and his friends don't like him anymore and everything like that. So we have built up to that, which makes sense, I guess. But yeah, I just think from a narrative standpoint, it doesn't really fit with his character.
Maybe. I guess because he confessed, he was develop sympathy for him.
Yeah, maybe. Plus, I don't necessarily think he's got a character at this point. He doesn't feel very flushed out yet, you know. But then, none of them really do, to be honest with you. So,
it's early.
Very early, yeah. But again, like I said, I don't know when these were supposed to be released. We'll get back to that in a second. But anything you wanted to comment on this scene?
Not particularly, no, until we get to the next one.
The next scene, where we return back to the Simpson residence.
Yep.
And Bart has a bath in the back garden.
Outside
in the back garden with turpentine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah, right. How does he know
they're
that?
bathing outside?
I'm assuming that he doesn't want to get all the crap in the house.
But he does work through the house with it later on.
Yeah. And he's not wet.
Takes a lot to scrub this stuff off as well.
It doesn't come off at all, does it?
No.
No. But yeah, we start to see the beginnings of the real abusive Homer.
Yep.
Instantly turns back to furious. Why are you little? Yeah, we get more of the dynamic that we get going forward in the show between these two. Although they get on sometimes, but predominantly it's very much a Homer wants to beat the crap out of Bart kind of situation, isn't it? So, anything else you wanted to say about that scene, or?
No, I mean it does show how a little bit shallow Homer is.
Very shallow.
As soon as Bart is back to being stupid, he's like, I don't like you.
Especially after what Bart says to him.
Yeah, he pulls his heart out a little bit, and
he's like, I've loved this past week with you. It's been so great getting on with you, and you've made me so happy. All I want to do is just love you, Dad, and I just want you to spend time with me. And he's just like, nah, I'm going to kick the crap out of you.
Now that I know you have no future prospects at all.
Yeah. Very supportive parent, isn't he? Yeah. Also, why does the kids' room have a lock?
Good point. Yeah, why does it have a lock?
So he's supposed to be 10 years old. Why would you put a lock on the door?
They just needed it for a storyline.
I guess they need it for the storyline, yeah, but it just seems very... Why would you have a lock? That seems very odd. And also, if you did have a lock on a kid's room door, surely you'd have a way to get in from the outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just found that quite funny. Any other thoughts you had at all? About this scene?
Life.
About anything?
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
As I said, I thought this episode was a bit boring and a bit predictable.
What did you say as soon as it finished? That was an episode.
That was an episode, yeah. It was predictable.
Okay, so what do you make of the progression between the first episode we saw and the second episode? So, like I said, I'm not quite sure where this should fit in the sequence. It seems very different from the first episode that we saw. And the characters seem very different from the first episode that we saw, which is fine, because obviously it's between the first and the second episode. But then when you find out that this isn't the first and the second episode, it makes you question, okay, so where do these fit in the sequence? Because we'll see later on, as the series goes on, there'll be a couple more episodes where the characters seem to be very different again, and they revert back. So that's what I was asking you, what you feel about the difference between the two episodes that we've seen so far.
I mean, I think I enjoyed the first one a lot more than this one. This one I didn't really enjoy a lot.
It feels to me like the series should have started in September or October or something like that, and then the Christmas special came out in the Christmas period. But they lost those 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And then we've got the first episode, which is the Christmas episode, which is a very weird first episode to put on. And then
I think it's just the timing of the year, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously when it was. But it feels like the first episode was a lot more. I mean, the animation looks better to begin with. Initially, I think in the first episode, I think it's a little bit more Simpson-y than this episode. I think that there are traits in this second episode that are more Simpsons-y. Homer's behaviour, for instance, Bart's attitude, so to speak. You know, I'm a cool guy.
I think there's more stuff going on in the first episode. One thing I'd say about this second one is, was there a scene in the whole episode where Bart Simpson wasn't in it?
No. Every scene had Bart in it.
Yeah. Like, there was no second... We said this before, there was no second story. This episode was all about Bart. First episode of, I assume, when the series starts in the new year in January.
Yep, this was the...
It's 3 weeks after the Christmas episode. Yep. They want to establish that Bart is the star.
Mm-hmm. Well...
So they put this episode next.
Not long after this. We need to look this up, and we'll probably visit it on the podcast as well. But you get Do the Bartman comes out fairly soon after this as well. So they're very much pushing Bart as the guy.
Yeah.
He's the character for The Simpsons. So they very much push that fact. Until I think they realise that actually people probably prefer Homer.
And the quality of the show goes up when Homer becomes the top.
Yeah.
Personally. So.
But yeah, no, Bart is very much front and centre. But I think that we discussed this on the last episode as well. I think that comes from the fact that Bart is Matt Groening. So this is obviously based on his family experiences and his family experience with the tint of the American family sitcom. But Bart is Matt Groening. So I think that's obviously why Bart is front and centre in a lot of this.
And the Christmas episode, the focus was a lot more on Homer.
Which is why I'm asking you, where do you think
more than
this episode comes in a sequence? Do you think that this comes in before the Christmas episode, or do you think it comes in after?
I reckon it's supposed to be before that.
You reckon it's supposed to be before, yeah?
Because there's no, in particular, the background animations are pretty dreadful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the animation's better in the Christmas episode.
So lazy.
They're very plain, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's no texture. And they don't look very three-dimensional, which I know is stupid to say in a two-dimensional cartoon, but if you look at the Simpsons going forward from series 2, 3 onwards, it looks more three-dimensional, you know? It looks like the settee isn't just a plain two-dimensional thing drawn onto the background. It looks like there's depth to it. So yeah, I agree with that, especially the last scene where Bart comes in after turning himself green just before the end of the episode. I think that the living room in that scene looks terrible. It looks very bad, yeah. So, but like we said, we know obviously the animation problems that they were having. But yeah, so you think that this comes in thematically before the Christmas episode? I think they made it before the Christmas episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with that. I think that this would have been...
Oh, I thought you knew.
No. No one knows the actual original release schedule. Okay. It's not something that's well known. All that I know, all that anyone knows is what was supposed to be the first episode. Because that's on a documentary about The Simpsons, and it was very clear. And then they said that they got them back and the animation was so bad that they had to quickly redo everything. So they sent ones off to be repaired that could be repaired. They sent ones off to get completely redone that couldn't be salvaged. I think the Christmas one is one that was pretty much redone completely, but it was one of the first ones that they, because I think that they released that one because I think their schedule was just completely blown out. So that by the time they were ready to release one, it was already the December period. So they figured, well, you might as well do the Christmas one, right? But yeah, I would agree. I think that this one comes in beforehand. I don't know how early it would have been, whether it's like 1, 2, 3, whatever, I'm not sure. But it does feels hollow, but also kind of a little bit flushed out. Like they already know what they want to do with Bart, for instance, and they already know the relationship that they want between Bart and Homer. Which is why the Christmas episode confuses me a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't think we've established a lot of the side characters yet, really. I mean,
not a lot of them have come in.
You've got Martin Prince in this one.
I mean, the only person other than
Skinner
is Principal Skinner. Yeah, he's the only person other than any of the Simpsons characters that have been in both episodes so far. Yeah. So that's, obviously, and he's not flushed out at all yet, is he? So
No, his voice is still very different.
yeah,
You can see why he's been in 5 episodes so far. It's the school principal.
it's a
And
big
Bart
part
gets
of
in
Bart's thing.
trouble.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, totally agree with that. Final question: how do you rate this episode?
Very low.
Out of 10?
3.
Yeah, I'm probably.
It did have some good gags.
I think I would probably agree. 3 out of 10 is probably a decent. I mean, if you're gonna push it, I'd say 4, but I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't go that high. There are, like I said, 2 or 3 subtle non-verbal gags that kind of make me chuckle, but that's pretty much it. There's not really much beyond that, to be honest with you. So definitely worse than the Christmas episode for you.
Yes.
Yeah, me
no
too.
No dogs in this episode, mate.
Which is what makes me think that it comes before the Christmas episode as well.
Yeah.
Because the dog hasn't even been introduced yet.
Didn't see the dog.
There was a cat though, right? Was there a cat?
There was the Snowball 1 was Snowball 2 was in the first episode, right?
Yeah, but Snowball 2 was in the first episode, the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
But was Snowball 2 in this episode?
I don't know.
I don't remember seeing
they
the
established
cat.
Santa's little helper as the dog.
Yeah.
In the first episode, and then this one, nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. Which would show you that it comes before, but I just don't know where it comes before. But yeah. Right, well, that was episode number 2.
It was.
Bart the Genius. We're still very much in the mire, I would say.
I think so.
With regards to the quality of The Simpsons.
But I expected this.
Yeah. I mean, Series 1, everyone knows Series 1's not the greatest, but it needs to be done. I don't really think it makes much sense to start from Series 2. Might as well start right from the beginning, and then you get the progression. And you, dear listener, get to hear the progression along with us. But it's still very much down in the doldrums at the moment. But hopefully you learned some interesting facts about the episode at least.
I mean, not everything started hot.
No.
In life, you know.
I think TV shows is quite a safe bet that the first series has a lot of teething issues, doesn't it? So, especially this one. This one was on the back foot right from the beginning, I think. So that probably pushed it out quite a bit as well. But fortunately, there are not that many episodes in this series, so we don't have to suffer through too many more, hopefully. But yeah, that was Bart the Genius. Tom, say goodbye to the people for me.
Goodbye.
That's not how you said it last week.
Was it not?
No.
What did I say?
Was it I Caramba?
No, that's not how you say goodbye.
It was Eat My Shorts.
Eat My Shorts.
Yeah. And mine was Good Night, Springdon. There will be no encore.
Every time I learn something new, it pushes some old stuff out of my brain.
So if you like this video, please check out our other content. Click on the video below. Please check out this playlist. This is a Rich T Entertainment production.